Hello, welcome back to yet another thrilling and dashing, if I may say so myself, episode of Ask Cheshire TV. I'm Mark Nelson, Executive Director here at Cheshire TV, and we're here for another half hour or less to just chit-chat about things that you may be interested in knowing, or things that we may be interested in having you know about Cheshire TV, how we work, who we are, what we do, the people who are members here, and ask not what you can do for Cheshire TV, but what Cheshire TV can do for you. Not a great attitude, but we go with that too. So this week we have yet another letter from the Cheshire TV mailbag. A shocking resurgence in handwritten snail mail letters has avalanched upon us here at the former Pond Mansion, which someday we should give you a tour of because this place is pretty cool. So first up we have a letter. See, it's on paper and everything. You have to be careful. This stuff will cut you. We have a letter from Helen Traubel from, I won't read the address, in Keene, and she would like to know, what's the deal with the movies? Well, movies are better than ever. As you may or may not know, we run old movies on Cheshire TV every day, Monday through Friday at 12 noon and midnight. The way it works is that whatever airs today at noon will be on again tonight at midnight. And it may seem weird for a community access channel to do that, to run content that's old, made by people who are long dead. But it was something that Lee Perkins started when he started up Cheshire TV. His idea was to have, to bring back the fun of the early days of TV. And I always liked that when I was a bystander, when I was a viewer. I loved the idea of the noon movie, because when I grew up, the only way you saw movies for the most part was in a theater or on TV, catch as you could. So what these are what are known as public domain movies. These are films that were never copywritten properly or fell out of the copyright. They're the kind of movies that clog the dollar bin, frankly, at any store, or you see on archive.org and stuff like that. They're movies that are legally usable for anybody. Public domain means that they don't belong to anyone, they belong to the public, in the domain of the public, if you will. So what we run, and I wrote this down because I can never remember. I put the schedule together, but I can never remember. Excuse me. On Mondays we run Westerns. On Tuesdays we run war movies. On Wednesdays it's Hollywood classics, which can be anything from family films to comedies to musicals. It tends to be light fare on Wednesday. Pardon me. Week 4 of a cold. Thursday, it's gladiator movies. And as a fan of the movie Airplane and of trash cinema and of goofy movies of the past, nothing warms my heart quite so much to look up at the monitor in my place of work every day on Thursday and see a gladiator movie. It's just funny. And then Friday, it's mysteries. So occasionally a mystery or a thriller. So we have an amount of these films. If you've been watching our station for the 10 years, happy birthday, that we've been on, you might have seen these a few times, because we kind of cycle through them. Although being legally a cinemaniac, clinically a cinemaniac, I am working to get some new old movies into the rotation too, and some new filler. The way it works is we run a film, and it's a 2-hour block. So if the film is shy of 2 hours, we have what we call movie filler that we run. And again, if you watch the station, you've seen this. It can be anything from old public domain cartoons, which could be some surprisingly well-known characters that fall into the public domain, or certain productions. We have Popeye, Casper, Betty Boop, some Three Stooges cartoons that were done in color with live-action color wraparounds by the Stooges. Old comedy shorts we have a lot of Charlie Chaplin, some Buster Keaton. There are 2 Three Stooges shorts that were in public domain. And some old 50s TV shows, excuse me, that are public domain that we used to fill out that 2-hour block. So it's basically a 2-hour block of retro TV. We enjoy putting these on. We don't know if anyone watches them or not, although we have gotten comments when the audio was messed up on an old James Cagney once, so people do watch them. And it's just a little break. When I was working here, not in this position, and I would go home for lunch some days, it was pretty cool to eat a sandwich and turn on the TV and see an old, early John Wayne Western or something. It's just fun. So that's the deal with those. Now for another letter, magically appearing from below my person. Sure. Let's go along with the charade. From Alan Sanjinson Minfrinton Mintin Ling King Tint. That was probably hard to spell as a youth. In Swansea comes this question, why do you run shows from California? Excellent question that just happened to be on the list that you're not supposed to see down here of things I wanted to talk about today. So back to Lee Perkins. Part of his idea with running what we call imports, people occasionally would contact us to say, will you run my show? And most public access channels will do that. If you submit a program, whoever you are, they'll run it. And that's really what we operate on, is if you hand something to us, it needs to meet minimum requirements, which are basically it has to have a certain disclaimer at the beginning and the end, and a title and an identifier of who gave it to us. But whatever's in the middle of that, whatever is the content jelly in the middle of that content donut, we really don't care. People still will occasionally mail us DVDs to air and send us things, and that's how it started. And there's also a website called pegmedia.org, and another one that's a server that the New Hampshire Coalition for Community Media maintains, where public access stations can upload content they create and also download content created by other public access stations, a program exchange for things they think people might be interested in seeing. The idea of running the imported programs on Lee's behalf, or on his mindset, was that if initially when the channel started, we only had a few local shows and not a lot of local content, and rather than have the same shows, internally we always joke that in the early days, Keen No Spin was on like 12 times a week, 4 times a day, because there weren't that many shows. Lee wanted to fill it out with some other things, give the channel some variety. So he imported a cooking show, or he would import a gardening show, or a fishing show, or something like that from elsewhere, and we run those. And A, for variety, and B, his idea, although I don't know if it was ever apparent to anyone else viewing, was these are the kind of shows you can do. He would run those shows so that if a local person was inspired and they saw a gardening show from Texas that we ran and they wanted to do a gardening show, well, we'd boot the Texas show and put the local show in its place. Since I've been here, I've taken over the channel, well, not taken over the channel, but taken over the programming, let's say. I have tried to focus more on local programs. I was seeing that some of our shows were only running a couple of times a week, and when you've got 24 hours times 7 days a week, it should be more than that. So every show currently that's locally produced runs approximately 5 times a week, if not more. I think I'd like to get it to be more than that, actually. If a show is long, we don't really care how long a show is that you produce. You just need to tell us how long it is, and we'll make space for it. Occasionally, somebody will do a show that's 2 hours regularly. Those shows are harder for us to repeat a lot. Or if you have a show that falls under the mature content category that we have, which is nudity, profanity, graphic medical procedures. If anything of that nature goes on in your program, you don't have to run it past us. You just need to tell us that that's in there. And if that's the case, we run it after 10 p.m., the safe harbor hours. 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., I believe, is the zone for that. If you do a show that falls into that category, it limits how many times it can be on. And also, if it's a long show, it limits how many times it can be on. But otherwise, we try to give local shows as much exposure as possible so people get a chance to see them, and so that the work that people put into them can be appreciated, or at least seen, if not appreciated. So the imported shows we have less of now. If one comes along that looks interesting or I think is beneficial, I'll run it. But currently, it's a limited number, and some only produce a certain number of shows. Like we ran a show called Train Time forever that I know had a following, but we cycled through all of those episodes 10 times over the course of 5 or 6 years, and I finally decided it's just time to put that to bed, let the local shows get a little bit more action. So that's what that is. We like to think the shows that we import are interesting for people. It may enrich or intelligent? Yeah, sure. Maybe enriching or intelligent or something like that. And at the end of the day, it's just about variety. So here's a big, huge, great question that we're going to answer visually in the future with a little video package. Feel free to laugh at that, I do. Where are you located? Well, so we don't have a sign physically on our building. We have a sign in front of our building on West Street here in Keene that sometimes confuses people as to where to get in based on driving on West Street. Basically, what I tell everybody is, do you know the Keene Public Library? Okay, great. We are on Winter Street. The way you would normally walk into the Keene Public Library, we are the building immediately to the right of that. Former Masonic temple, it's where Heberton Hall is located. There's a lot of public events that go on in Heberton Hall. And if you look at the library, There's a little tiny alleyway parking lot between the library and our building. That's the way in. I wouldn't advise you to park there because there's not usually parking, but that's the way you walk in. And if I want to be silly, I'll say just keep trying all the doors, and the one that's open is the one that will get you in the building. Because there are doors on every side of our building, and all but one of them are locked. So if you go in that little parking area between the library and our building, there's a little pillared awning that has the Masons logo and white columns and a red door, and that's the way you get in. We are right inside there. There's signage inside the building. It's no problem. We're here Monday through Friday, except holidays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Once in a great while, we're spread so thin we have to close early or be closed for a little while, but I hate to have us be closed. Where I used to work was fairly remote, and I always hated it if somebody on their lunch hour made a trip to get out there and they found the door locked because I was at lunch. So I try to never have this place closed if we can help it, but it can never hurt to call before you want to come in. If you're a member who's looking to borrow equipment, check out some equipment. On that note, it's smart to call ahead and not just show up and try to get equipment in case it's out. That's sort of a whole other topic, but at any rate, I wonder. And I wonder how good this will taste. Oh boy, that's good water. All I ask is that it's wet. So yes, our location is immediately next door to the Keene Public Library. I think sometimes people get confused and think NGM is us, and we're not that big. Speaking of location, here's a little news that you probably don't know because we haven't really told anybody yet. The building that we're in, the portion we're in was formerly private residence, the Pond Mansion, I believe it was known as, purchased by the Masons and added on a whole lot to the building. This building is going to be under construction starting, I believe, in May of this year, 2017. And in order to do this construction, they need us to vacate the space so that they're not swinging hammers and hot rivets and girders and whatever else is involved. Bandsaws? I don't know. They need us to not be here while they're doing that. So what will be happening is that we will be moving our operations into the library, into the gloriously windowless library basement, the K Fox room, if you're a Keene resident or know Keene, and you've been to the Keene Library book sale, that big room in the basement where they have the book sale. We will be recreating ourselves in there for perhaps a year, maybe more, maybe less. We'll still have a studio, we'll still have our equipment. It'll be just laid out in a different and to us strange way, but it should work. We'll be in that location for a while. When we get closer to that, we'll certainly promote that a lot on local media and in the paper and on our website and on our Facebook page and on this show. And we'll probably do tours of the new space once we get that set up, and we'll do probably construction updates, and it'll be interesting, and we'll share that all with you as it goes along. The ultimate goal is for us to move back into this excuse me, I get choked up when I talk about construction. Bill or Bob, and we'll be moving back into this building, essentially straight up from where we are right now. It'll be slightly more space, not a lot, slightly more space than we currently have, slightly more configured to what we want, and slightly more, I don't want to say high tech, that's pushing it, slightly more modern than it currently is. Our studio space will be larger. We will have access to the second floor of Heberton Hall. If you don't know, this is really cool. On the second floor of Heberton Hall, there is a giant room that was the former Masonic temple's temple room. You literally could fit a house in there. It's amazing. This room has not really been used for anything since the Masons left because this building is not ADA compliant and not up to code. So it sort of sits there in the dark as a giant cool secret in town. Once they redo this building, that room will be usable, and we will have access to that room to do productions on occasion. So now, currently, if somebody wants to shoot a band, film a band, in this studio I'm in now, it's not a very big space. I tell people, you can fit 50 people in this room, but you're only going to see 3 of them at a time on camera. In that big space, we'll be able to have, we'll shoot music, we could shoot plays, we could shoot large group discussions. If somebody wants to have a choir on their show as a guest, it won't be a problem. Unlike now, when if somebody wants 3 guests, it becomes a tactical issue. So it should be interesting. So that's just a little carrot, little secret, a little inside information about what's coming up with Cheshire TV. I don't intend to have this show be terribly topical, but this is a good way to throw that stuff out if you're a loyal viewer or an interested party or anything like that. Excuse me. So eventually we want to have a video presentation on this show showing you almost step by step how to get into this building and find us. We'll do a tour of our space in our studio, which I often joke is just putting a camera on a tripod and just giving it a spin for 30 seconds. And also we'll show you the various types of equipment and facilities you can have here. One thing I did want to mention, in case you don't know and in case we haven't mentioned it in earlier episodes, so you live in Keene or Swansea. So you live, work, or go to school full-time in Keene or Swansea. You can be a member of Cheshire TV for free. What does a member mean? Well, it means you're a damn fine person. But in addition to that, it means you can check out any of the high-end video equipment that we have after you've been properly trained, which is generally, a sit down with Dave for 40 minutes to an hour where he shows you what buttons to push and gives you battle-tested tips on what to do and what not to do. You can check out a camera, tripod, microphones, lights, anything like that, and create whatever you want to create. If you have a civic organization, a private organization, any kind of organization, and you want to talk by some guest speaker recorded, you can check it out and shoot that. If you want to shoot a little movie, if you want to shoot how-to videos, if you want to make a music video, if you want to just sit down in your bedroom and talk into the camera about why you think tadpoles are vastly underappreciated in the Bonzo Dog Band's discography, we can do that. You can do that. Basically, the way it works is you sign up as a membership, you validate your proof of ID, which is generally a photo ID. If your photo ID, if you've just moved here and your photo ID doesn't show a Keene or Swansea address, if you have like a bill or something official, that piece of mail that backs up your identity, that's cool. And there are various things that work. Once you sign up for that and you get trained, you can just let us know when you're checking things out, when you'll be bringing it back. We'll have it all prepped for you when you show up and you do your thing. All we ask in exchange is that you get equipment for free, thousands of dollars value, and in exchange, you give us content we can air on the channel. It doesn't have to be every frame that you shot, it just needs to be something. And that's a fair exchange, and we have, I actually have been telling you all that to tell you this. We have a new edit computer here. Newly purchased, top of the line, arguably better than what the staff themselves have at their desks. I didn't say that, did I? None of the staff heard that, right, good. Don't make me laugh. It only hurts when I laugh. It is a top of the line, very powerful PC that has the Adobe Creative Suite installed on it. Just about all of the Creative Suite. I think if any of the Creative Suite is not on there that a member wanted to use, we would install it on there and you'd have it. We also have a series of video tutorials from lynda.com that are basically, you sit with that for however long they are, and that should be a pretty thorough tutorial. We don't really do one-on-one training currently for the Edit Suite. That may change. We certainly are always here to help. If somebody's having a problem, they can come out and grab one of us and we can help walk them through and figure out what the issue is or what they're trying to achieve. If you've ever worked on digital editing, I always think it's a short jump from one lily pad to another, back to the tadpoles reference. From one system to another, the principles are always the same. It's just, what are the different buttons. If you've never done it before, we've had people walk in who've never touched a camera, never touched video editing, and if they're interested in learning, they wind up being pretty proficient in creating a lot of content. So I have faith in pretty much anybody who walks in that it's nothing you can't learn and overcome. So it's a really robust suite of programs. It's Photoshop, it's After Effects, it's Premiere Pro, it's Media Encoder. It's stuff that I don't use and I don't even know about, but believe me, it's all there. And that's free. And also, if you have content you've shot, you don't need to use our equipment to create content to use in the Edit Suite. If you're a filmmaker or somebody who has a bunch of home videos or footage you've shot that you want to do something with, put it on an external hard drive, plug it into our system, and have fun with it. Again, all we ask is that you give us something to put on the air. I know we've had local filmmakers who have been waiting to use this equipment because they knew that our old system was, let's say it wasn't intended for HD. So it was a little fussy. The new system is not. The new system is slick, it's fast, and it's great. And when you're done, you can just encode the type of file we need for us. You can encode wherever else you want. You can make HD files yourself. You can make YouTube files, DVD, whatever. It's there for you. It's nothing that we advertise a lot, and it doesn't currently get a tremendous amount of use, but it's there, and it's almost the newest piece of equipment we have here. Not that everything else isn't new. We've upgraded all our cameras to HD. Not that you know that watching this on Channel 8, but this is HD. Join us on YouTube for the HD version of this program. So that's just another thing that's here for you. There's a lot of services for members. If you're curious about what we do, please come on down. It is 76 Winter Street, as I said earlier, next door to the Keene Public Library, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Just stop on in, and we're overjoyed to have anybody to talk to. No, we're overjoyed to show people what we do. And people, more often than not, their jaws drop and they're like, I can't believe this is here. And I'm like, right, tell 5 friends. And then they'll tell 5 friends, and then they'll tell 5 friends, and it's just like The Ring, only without so much, death involved. So we had someone come in the other day. It was fantastic. It was a middle school girl, young lady, who was just stunned that we existed and all the opportunity that exists here. We have had students who come and play of their own volition, who have come as interns, who have come as paid part-time on occasion, who have gone on to be media professionals. One of our former success stories here went to Full Sail University for production, and he's now a really successful, 2 guys actually are involved in the concert industry, like concerts by name artists. They're involved with those tours. It's really amazing. And other people have gone on to work in various capacities too. So part of what we're here for is education. That's part of our mission. If you ever see the little filler piece we have on Channel 8 that says what our mission statement is, it's to provide, I'm not going to try to do it word for word. I can't do the accent. We're here to educate people in the use of media, for getting their word out, for exercising their freedom of speech, for having fun. It doesn't matter what it is. We're just here to help. We are here to help you get your word out via this channel. Whether you come in and sit like I'm doing and talk for 20 minutes or a half hour or an hour or whatever, whether you use our equipment to create productions that we then air. Length doesn't matter, by the way. It's a dirty joke, but I won't make it. It could be a tiny little piece. It could be something that's 20, 30, 60, 2 hours, whatever. We'll run it. We have to. And, whether you just want to come out and hang out and help with us, operating a camera at a school board meeting, operating a camera at a school concert, those are the fun ones. We always can use the help, and no matter how much you do or don't know, it's skill building, it's interpersonal relationship building, it's good service for the community, and more often than not, it's a heck of a lot of fun. So I guess on the word fun, I will leave you on that high note. Once again, let me give you our contact information. If you'd like to contact us, let us know what you think of this show, what you think of anything. Let us know, give us another honest-to-God fake, well, did I say fake? Maybe I was being honest. Honest-to-goodness communication that you'd like us to read and address on this program. If you want to send it via the old-fashioned USPS, it is Cheshire TV, P.O. Box 903, Keene, New Hampshire, 03431. If you want to send us an email, it's askctv@cheshiretv.org. If you want to send us a message or post something on Facebook, it is www.facebook.com/Cheshire-TV. And, or you could just stop in, 76 Winter Street. Did I say the phone number? I'll say it again if I didn't say it the first 3 times. 603-283-6621. Until next week, I remain, until they pull it from my cold, dead hands, Executive Director of Cheshire TV, Mark Nelson, saying, see you on TV.